See the pin placement here? It's all the way down at the water.
I wanna hear a little more of me and a little less of you guys. Just kidding. Hey, Josh, can you hear me? Are we gonna order pizza or what's up with this?
You know, a lot of the holes I've seen, there's not that many of
A
this.
piece of paper, all of us, and write down how many front rim bangers and how many times you go in the water, and try to guess like how many.
That has nothing to do with pizza.
That's like a $10 fold.
Okay, so this is week 2. This is our second
why don't
podcast.
you wait till he actually hits the live button?
But he has. He says
And
he's
until he
streaming
puts
live.
us on the screen.
Have we been streaming live or not streaming live?
Yes.
We have been streaming
Yeah,
live.
but when he's not recording.
Yes. You are streaming and recording audio and video.
Boom.
Well, you let us know when to go, boss.
Why is my mute light on?
Because you're in probation.
Solid is on, blinking is muted.
Muted. Not muted. I got this. Too easy.
So the Audacity, I just record a backup just in case something fucking happens to this. We'll at least have audio. So that now everyone's on and going.
All right. So week 2 of this podcast,
Chopping it up. Paseo Vista crew.
chopping it up. We're mulling it over.
I'm trying to make it stick.
Nothing
I
set
really
in
am.
stone.
We're
We have
mulling?
a name for the podcast. We still haven't come up with a name for the podcast.
I think that's so indicative of what we do on a podcast. It's just
Podcast.
You're thinking about
chopping it up.
Fountain Hills.
Really,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I'm thinking about casting into a pond at Fountain Hills.
So we have a special guest with us today.
Famous.
Famous. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out.
World
or else we wouldn't have been
famous.
able to. Introduce yourself, sir.
Well, so I just came down from Alaska. These guys, they'd like to call me the Moose, but I'll tell them my true nickname. They actually call me the Polar Bear. So, come with a fierce attitude. Got into disc golf probably about 7-8 years ago. Not really sure. That remains to be seen.
Do we know your name?
My name?
Yeah.
No, you don't get to know my name, actually.
Oh.
We'll maybe find it out.
We can just call
Mystery
it mystery
disc
guest.
golfer.
Mystery guest, and maybe if I'm involved in a couple more podcasts, I'll reveal that later.
Sure.
So
Well,
That's
wow.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Superhero.
I may call you Cam at some. Oh,
Oh.
damn it.
Cam 1, Cam 2.
No, I was just talking about the cameras.
You just jumped the shark. We're done. Like, you just took away the selling point.
Yeah.
I know. I had to steal the reveal.
Okay, so you've been playing for 8 years. What was that pivotal moment where you realized you were going to be playing for 8 years?
I think it was probably like the second time I got out there. I grew up playing ball golf, as my friends like to say. They definitely have to distinguish the two sports, otherwise I think they feel insulted. So I definitely refer to it as disc golf and ball golf now.
Sure.
Yeah. My home course was 9 holes when I first started, and we I actually heard of a few friends that were going up there. They're throwing plastic discs around, and I had to check it out for myself. So I went down. I bought a little 3-pack at Played Against
Oh
Sports.
yeah, the AVR.
Yeah, the
What is that?
AVR, the shark.
The shark, and then
Shark.
the leopard. The leopard.
No, I think it was a beast.
Oh, beast.
Wow.
A tie-dye beast, which actually was my favorite.
You got a
disc for-
tie-dye beast in your pack?
Yeah, that's
tie-dye
probably
beast.
the best 3-pack that anyone's ever put out.
It was
a
awesome.
mistake.
That was-
I actually
Tie-dye
had.
DX?
no, that had to be a champion.
I know, I'm just saying, though, but for it to be tie-dye, they put...
I don't think there is a tie-dye. If anyone out there can prove to us that there is a tie-dye DX beast, send us pictures. We
Yeah.
don't believe you.
I don't even know if I've seen a tie-dye DX.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Never-
Mike.
yeah,
I don't
unless you
think
did
that
it
it had to be
yourself.
champion, but how many packs have you ever seen with any champion in it? Like the starter packs? I haven't.
Actually, you know what? To tell you
That
the
was 8
truth,
years ago.
Thinking back, here's what I did. When I bought the 3-pack, I actually ripped it open and then took one of the discs from the shelf
Oh,
and threw it in there.
snap. That's
did.
what I like.
And the funny part about it is, I didn't know much about discs, but I knew that the quality of this
Yeah, he
piece
just knew
Yeah.
like, the
was
champion.
definitely, so it could have been a leopard that was in that
Oh.
3-pack.
I bet it
man.
was because my grandpa just bought one. I took him out to the course, I was like, you know, he used to throw around frisbee back in the Navy in like the 70s. And I was like, hey, you know, you should come out to this course with me. It's a really good beginner's course. Like, there's some challenging holes for you. We went out to Paseo Vista, and he went out there and he played with just my discs, and he was like, oh man, I love this. So we went out and bought a 3-pack, DX Aviar, DX Shark, DX Leopard, and I was just like, oh, I'm sorry, Grandpa. He got ripped off. Those are like, this guy down at the course will sell you like 3 way better than that for less than what you paid for those 3.
But really smooth move there. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Just
that's
I mean,
like-
I might even do that
I-
myself. Just go into the stores, take out all the discs, put in the ones I want.
Let's see.
You
we
get
have
my
a-
own 3
a
for
Star
25
Boss. We have a Star Destroyer. You can make the meat hook pack
Yeah.
The meat hook pack, yeah, that
and
would
a
work.
Star Excalibur. There you go.
Like,
That's
walk in with a bunch of Reynolds wrap.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I did that one time with beer. So they like the bomber bottles, like the 22-ounce bottles. This local brewery, the one that I have the stamp of on one of those discs, that I got from Kale. I went into the liquor store and they had a 4-pack of these bomber bottles from Flat Earth Brewery. And there was one that I was like, I don't really care about that beer so much. Like it's good, but it's not great. And then there was another one that was like $4 more expensive per bottle, but the cap was a similar color, so I just swapped them out and went out there. Like they didn't even think twice about it. They're like, oh, here's your beer, sir.
So yeah, back to how I got into disc golf. You know, I got that starter pack, went up to our 9-hole course, never been up there before, and yeah, went out there by myself, threw around, came back the next day with a buddy from work, told him about it. He went and got a couple discs, and what lured me into the sport was the similarities of golf, but you know, I could go up there. I didn't have to make a tee time.
Yeah.
You know, I had already invested in my equipment, so you know it was pretty cheap acquisition. And then the fact I could bring my own refreshments, and you know I could go. The one thing about Alaska that was really cool, and this may have been one of the bigger points of me getting into the sport, is I could go out there at midnight and
Yeah.
play
Oh,
around
absolutely.
with disc golf.
I think those are 3 really big appeals for people with disc golf. Is the really low and like startup cost. I mean, you can literally spend $40 and have a bag of a nice assortment of discs to go out there, and the informality of it. I mean, it's not you don't have to wear your golf shoes and your golf shirt
Exactly.
and whatnot. You go out there in whatever you're wearing for the day. You can go out there and I've seen guys playing in their work uniform before. Like you go out there and you play. Like it's not, you don't have. Good catch. You don't have specific attire you need to wear for it. You wear what's comfortable.
It's a good point, though. I will tell you this. One of the first YouTube videos I watched was, I think, the Memorial, like in 2011. It was the first hole. It was the lead card.
Remember who's on it?
Like I remember Greg Barsby was on there because like he had his long hair and he had a trench coat and he was making kind of a show of it, and I'm like, you know, like who's this guy? Because it's like, you know, he's like doing like some kind of like,
Is that the guy that looks like Sideshow Bob?
yeah, he's like does a little grandstanding, you know, like he's just kind of like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know,
he's a character.
he's not doing, he's not like he's just doing it for fun, you know. So I see a few of these guys throw, and then I see this one guy. He's got like a white, golf shirt on, white shorts, and his shirt is tucked in. Like it's the only time I've ever seen like disc golf on YouTube where someone's shirt was tucked in. And like the guy who got me started, Chris Lind, I said, "Who is that guy?" He's like, "Oh, that's Paul Ulibarri." And I'm like, I had like at that time, just because of the way he was dressed, I started having like mad respect for this guy because it's like you could tell the way he was dressed, he had a love and a passion for this game above and beyond what most guys I saw wearing. I mean, I'm sure there was like some level, equal levels of dress out there, but the guy actually had his shirt tucked in, had a belt, and was like dressed to the nines, and you could just tell he took it that serious. And that's what Chris commented about him, like yeah, he's very professional about the game, and that's what drew me to Paul, and finding out he's in Arizona and he's a disc golfer, and wanting to play, and that's what kind of drew me to wanting to play disc golf, is like the fact that there was somebody you know, somewhere in this state who's taking it professionally to the point where, you know, you're out there. I grew up, I mean, I've working 13 years out here, and you do not want to tuck in your shirt. Like, the last thing you want to do here in Arizona when you're sweating is tuck in your shirt.
Tell me about it.
Funnel the sweat down to your ass.
You know, and just keeping it all locked right there in your waist, you know, because,
Yeah.
you know, you have all that material. But, you know, for him to do that, I'm sure it was like, you know, not too hot out, but, you know, today, you know, it's 86 degrees out, even for February, you know, middle of February. You know, it's you still have that desire to want to just rip your clothes off and just kind of like leave it hanging and let it dry
Yeah, or
out.
playing no shirt. I mean,
And I mean, I understand wanting to play as you want, you know, and that's cool. I mean, you know, we all want to dress how we want to dress, but for, you know, that's just what drew me to. One thing that really locked me in from the beginning was seeing somebody dressed to the nines and treat it as though it was ball golf. Here, I mean, I really thought, like, here's somebody who's treating it as though it was ball golf, because in ball golf you would never see anybody with their shirt untucked.
no, you would never have
Never on
anybody
TV
disheveled on
would
it.
you see
Especially
somebody with
at,
their
like, a
untucked
country
shirt.
club. I mean, you go to a country club, they're not even let you in
So
the door
I
to
mean,
get your
just
clubs.
no matter what, the fact that Paul Uliari tucks in his shirt, mad respect.
I've only been here for 3 months. I have to wear a second shirt underneath my main shirt just so I don't sweat through my main shirt. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, you're halfway becoming Mormon.
I'm almost there. I don't
Get
think
the
I'll ever be
underwear,
Mormon,
you'll be set.
Yeah, do you have your
You'll-
magic
you'll play
underwear yet?
So good with magic underwear, seriously. This is my attire for tomorrow. I have black, like workout shorts, a black, hairy Joker shirt. Thanks to your cat, by the way.
But you know, you mentioned a good point with the you know, bringing professionalism into the sport. That's like another thing that, you know, kind of drew me to the sport was, you know, anybody can come and play. You know, yes, it's nice that you have people representing it, you know, and dressing professionally, and, you know, definitely, you know, making the sport look good, because there's a lot of people, you know, over the years that I've, you know, been introduced to that don't make the sport look good. But for the most part, you know, aside from the things that I mentioned previously, you know, you can really go and play disc golf and wear whatever you want.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you don't want to wear a shirt, you don't have to.
I can't tell you the number of rounds I played shirtless.
And you know, you can't do that in ball golf. You can't go to a course and do that.
They will escort you off the course if you do not have a shirt.
You know, you can't bring your own cooler of soda or beer or whatever beverage it is you want to bring. You know, you got to buy it there. And so, you know, you mentioned that, and those are definitely some things that drew me into the sport.
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, I mean, the reason I bring up the story is, like, I might go to league and people look at me and go, why do you have those pants on? Why do you have that shirt on? Why do you, I mean,
You
if
look
you
good.
noticed, I mean, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but, I mean, I try to promote the sport by the way I dress, too.
Yeah, you usually
Yeah.
look good at the course.
And, I mean, I don't, like, I think I maybe when I first started wore T-shirts. Now it's always dry fit. Like, I'm always in tournament mode, and I always, like, whenever I play, even if it's just a casual round, I'm playing what you see. I mean, even when I'm doing this podcast, I'm wearing what I play with.
I think you're probably the exception to the rule, having a little more freedom to have the time to get, you know, dress nice for that type of thing. I mean, I'm off work at 4 o'clock. If I can make it home by 4:30, get in, grab my bag, and get right back out the door so I can get in 18 before it gets dark, like, I'm lucky and I'm thankful, and I will wear anything that hoves into my field of vision. I'm like, okay, it's clean enough. Let's go. We gotta get to the course.
Yeah, I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at this. If people just upgraded to collared shirts, I think it would go a long ways to the people who watch the sport on the outside.
Okay, I understand that. I think that you want as many people and as many people from different walks of life to play golf. I think I would love it if everyone everyone able-bodied, you know, enough to played disc golf. And I think having that level of informality at any game that you go to promotes that. You know, you walk onto a disc golf course and you see somebody just wearing a t-shirt and shorts, you go, okay, like, I don't have to wear anything in particular. I maybe can't afford nice clothes. You know, it just it opens the door for anybody who wants to play to go play in whatever clothes they have.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the people who raise the level of professionalism of the sport, because when everyone on the course, you know, let's say you go to a nice town and everyone playing on that course has a collared shirt on, looks well capped.
I would be a little scared if I walked up to a course and saw everyone dressed to the nines. I'd be like,
That's what
"Oh,
I'm saying. Like,
it's
you'd
me."
think something's going on. You'd think that you'd be like, oh, okay, there's got to be like some kind of event here. Like, maybe I'm not going to play today. Like, you'd maybe be a little leery of going on the course. But when you see all these people dressed in anything you can think of, I think it is a little bit easier to just walk onto the course in whatever you're wearing and not even think twice about it.
One of the things that comes to my mind is, when people pick up the sport, most people start as just a recreational sport. And for me, and even yourself, Joshua, we're definitely promoters of the sport. We try to lead by example in addressing the whole, attire public course, and cuss and bring beer and just throw your trash on the ground. And I think it takes time. It takes a couple of years, but eventually people realize, maybe I will put on a collared shirt today and I'll represent the sport a little bit better. And I know that's important for the sport because it's one of the fastest growing sports in the nation. I mean, it's picking up everywhere.
And not to put, not to make it seem like it's a Richie, it's like riches versus rags kind of story. It's just, today, and I'm sure it's an exception to the rule, but my wife went to a thrift store and found 3 brand new dry fit, golf shirts for $290. What would she say? $295.
I think it was $4.99.
$4.99 was the most expensive, so she got me 3 brand new shirts for under $15.
I'm going to give her a shopping list for me, by the way.
Yeah. So, so actually, that's what's nice too, is like having a wife who supports you too, and knows, so like,
Must be rough.
so I think what we should do is have my wife become like a shopper for, like, we'll do a shopping list.
Yeah.
If you're ever looking for like a, extra large, she comes across an extra large for $3. I think we can handle the $3.
Yeah.
And then you just pay us back.
Yeah. I think what you were going back to what you were saying about, like, the people who start to take it more seriously kind of raise their level of professionalism about the sport. I think that's part of the natural process of weeding out people who are just using it as a place to hang out, get drunk, smoke pot, like, not necessarily get drunk, but, a place to just hang out and not do whatever it is that they need to or are supposed to be doing. I think that people who take it more seriously continue to play disc golf, and the people who don't take it seriously and just go out there to get high or do whatever, leave their trash everywhere, break bottles, because any course you go to, there is a broken bottle somewhere. I think those people quit playing after a while. I think those people don't take it seriously enough to have that drive and that passion to continue playing it, and I think that the people like us raise our level of professionalism. And, like, I don't even throw a cigarette butt on the course. Like, I put them in my bag. I throw all the butts away when I'm done playing my round. Like, we raise our level because we respect the game and because we continue playing the game a lot longer than people who don't take it seriously.
It's just I keep seeing your Joker shirt. And
It's great, isn't it?
Serious?
Why so serious? I think is what you meant to say.
I think that was like 2013's most popular Halloween costume.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Maybe it was 2012. It was a couple of years ago.
I
Yeah.
think it was 12.
So
I don't think I could
Should've
pull that
won
off,
the
so-
we're gonna take the veil behind, take the veil off, and that's Cameron Chase.
Oh man.
Sorry.
I think I've blobbed it all over our Facebook page.
See,
so I think
now
everybody
people
knows.
know I'm not famous, so you
Yes.
just really killed
I
it.
don't think
Yet.
Cameron Chase is your real name,
It might not be. It might not be.
but we'd like to
Come
welcome
by
to the
a
show.
few different
Before we call
names.
it a webcam, I think Jason Statham was sitting there.
If we had some makeup, you mean? Yeah.
I can blur it a little bit.
Are we talking about my backside? Is it looking like Jason
Yeah.
Statham?
No,
so
don't
this
worry.
is Aaron's second week here, our second
In a
week,
row.
and Aaron was really excited. We were all really excited last week for last week's podcast, and I think you texted me like 2 days in, or maybe 1 day in. You're like, "What's the greatest superhero team of disc golfers?"
No,
and I'm
I
like,
said,
I'm
kinda
kinda like,
said,
I don't
what is
know,
your
and you're like, oh,
all-time
wait.
fantasy disc golf team. Like, there's fantasy football, there's fantasy every sport. So you're basically combining, like, the all Madden team with a fantasy disc golf team.
but it was superhero related.
it doesn't. It can be anyone. Think of anyone in the world. Like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's probably pretty freaking strong. Like, I bet he can throw a disc far. But maybe not.
Arm throw it. Yeah.
But you can also use any fictional character you can think of as well, which is...
Okay, well, so why don't you start since
All right.
you wanted this to be...
I'm saying we do doubles. Like, I think picking 2 people out of everyone's hard enough. So I'm going to take my doubles team of all-time fantasy disc golf team. I am taking Captain America and the Incredible Hulk. You can't find 2 people, fictional or otherwise, on the planet who could probably throw a disc further. You give me, like, 2,000-foot par 3. They'll make it. They'll ace it. They'll park it right into the basket.
I'm going to have to...
What about you,
agree.
Joshua? Have you thought about this yet? Do you have your...
You had all week to think about it.
Yeah. See,
For
I'm
an
having to think
all-star,
about
like,
mine now,
well,
so I get to
You
go
gave me
last.
superheroes, and now you're backing off
No,
to
it doesn't
superheroes.
have to be superheroes. I'm just saying, if you can think of somebody who can throw it further than Captain America, good luck. Have you seen him throw that shield?
Now,
It's insane.
oddly enough, I'm going to go with... First off, I'm going to go with Jackie Chan.
Really?
Okay.
That's only if we're playing at Mesquite and he has to climb into the bushes, right?
No. I'm just thinking limber. The more limber you are, I think the more athletic you are, you're gonna throw. And actually, I would go with Jackie Chan and who's his partner on Rush Hour?
What?
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker. Yeah.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker can throw a
Rush
disc.
Hour. Rush Hour 4 is gonna be all about disc golf.
My team's going to beat you by like 30 strokes.
Well, my team's real.
It can be real or otherwise. This is fantasy disc golf. That can either mean like...
You know what? You should go with some hot chicks, Cam.
Yeah.
No, I got my 2.
Nice.
Okay.
Go for it.
So
I wanna hear
I'm
this.
taking I'm putting the style into disc golf. Like you got snowboarding and you get judged on technicality and style points.
Yeah.
And so I'm going with the Human Torch because when he throws that disc, it's going to be
gonna
on
melt in
fire.
his hands.
So we're getting the style points there.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to stick with Marvel and go with.
Isn't that an alteration to the disc, though? If it's on fire?
I think if you're the Human Torch, nobody's really going to mess with you.
This is not going to be a PDGA.
Yeah, I don't think anybody...
sanctioned
Yeah, I
event.
know, it's not a sanctioned
I'm
event.
seeing a
This is-
trend
yeah,
here.
I would say
Right.
at this point we're not sanctioned.
I think what I'm hearing is you just want to play with Chris Evans. Is what I'm hearing. You want the Human Torch and you want Captain America.
Well, he looks
You
like
just
Chris
want Chris
Evans'
Evans
big brother.
I
topless
think
is
you
what
guys
you
are
want.
gonna like my second one.
Go
And
for it. Lay it on me.
Magneto. Because if I miss, I'm gonna bend that basket just enough.
Nice. Can you
So-
bend it back though?
Well,
Are you able to bend it back?
I don't know the tensile strength of a disc
I was
basket,
thinking
but-
about this even a little bit deeper. I mean, I would think that Magneto would be able to, if it's a bad miss and I can't bend that basket, I'm just going to whip off one of those chains and just shank it right in there.
Wow.
I mean, so we're getting pretty.
You're getting a lot of aces.
If you're
We're getting
already
deep.
cheating, just use metal discs and
I was
just
gonna
will
say-
them into the basket.
No, all you need to do is just put a tiny chunk of metal, like how
Yeah.
people stick a little LED light.
We
to
could do that too.
Stick a magnet to it, and that's an ace every shot. You're playing 18.
So outside the disc golf, if you guys are listening, put together your. Can we post on Twitch? I mean, like, is there any what kind of interaction can we have with people who listen? Granted, we have anybody.
We're just doing
For the
this
future.
for ourselves.
They can post, they can follow us. We're eventually going to be up on having to decide if I want to go with Ustream or a live stream. Live stream, they start I think between $20 to $80 a month, and Ustream just the basic pro version is $100 a month.
This is
So unless you guys get big fast, I can't swing $100 a month for streaming.
No, I think the $20 option.
No,
is
I think we're
feasible.
gonna get huge tomorrow. This
well,
fantasy-
Well, fuck it, I'll just go out and blow it all now
As time goes
then, and hopefully we make it.
This all-star fantasy disc golf team things are just gonna go viral.
Okay, so what I want to talk about tonight is, since we're all playing in tournament tomorrow, the fear,
That
the
is-
anxiety, the just the overall
mental game.
the mental game, that you have prior to a tournament, and it's not a big tournament. It's kind of a warm up to the I'm actually more nervous for this one than the Memorial because I really don't expect to do anything in the Memorial. I just it's more for the experience and the swag, and it's. But it's my first time playing Advanced Masters. I'd really just like to show up, at the Memorial. I mean, at the Fountain Hills. So I'm like, what? I've only been in a year and a half. Cam, you've been 8 years. Aaron, you're what, 5, 6 years?
Probably like 4 years
4 years.
total, but
So
that's
let
including,
me
like,
just ask you a
5
quick
months, 6 months
question
off
for
and
both of
really
you guys, and just do numbers. How many tournaments have you played?
I played one. I played one tournament
we'll
before,
work on
and then I played a league that really treated it as a tournament. It was a very strict, very rigid league, and that actually really scared me off of playing tournaments. I but your league, the guys are really cool. It's really pretty personable, and you can really pretty much talk to anybody, even if you haven't played around with them before. All the guys are passionate enough about the sport and respectful enough of other people.
So
that
you're
you
saying
can just
all the
talk
guys
to.
that you played with in league, the
I
prior
won't
league
call
was
out the
assholes?
league by name. I won't call out the league by name. It was a league in Minnesota. It was a tight-knit league, we'll put it that way.
Cliquish?
And yes. And so someone coming in who hadn't played with them before
A lot of
or didn't really
nitpickers.
know any of them prior to the whatever league day it was, because it was a traveling league, they weren't necessarily quite so inviting or receptive to
They
new
obviously
people
weren't cutting
there.
you slack.
Not even like slack. Just I mean, like calling penalties on stuff that like I didn't even know about. Instead of like explaining it to me, like they knew I didn't really
Nice
have
pizza.
that much experience in disc golf. But yeah, it was not.
What do we do for timeouts there?
Can we?
Timeout.
Timeout.
So, like, what do they do on the site for timeout?
They don't
Like,
have timeouts
Is there
for
like a
this
reset?
You know what? You and I can just chop
You
it up.
can pause it there and watch an empty chair for a little bit.
No, him
Okay.
and
We
I
do
can
have 2
chop it
people
up.
watching. I don't know
Go
who they are.
down there.
but-
That lady's waiting at the door.
I only have like 15, 20 bucks.
Someone at least go open the.
How much more do you need? Camera?
How much
Said
is this?
ESK.
How much was it? Did I tell you?
Like
This is pretty. This is riveting, isn't it?
Poor girl.
Here's what I'll say. I will say I love pizza and I love disc golf. So this is combining two of my
So
favorite
are we on
things.
pause or are we still going?
Podcasts are good too. So pizza, podcast.
All right,
and
so
disc
back to Joshua's question about tournament time.
golf. Oh yeah, the mental game.
So I've played in about 15 tournaments,
All in Alaska, or have you played elsewhere?
all in Alaska. I've actually ran 8 myself.
Okay.
I started 2 tournaments in Fairbanks, the Solstice Showdown and the Battle at Birch, which is now the Fairbanks Open. But for me, tournaments are all about the excitement and the competitiveness. Shoot, since I started playing basketball when I was in grade school, I'm just a diehard athlete, and the draw for sports to me is the competitiveness.
Oh, yeah,
and I've always had good sportsmanship, and I never let other people get to me. So
I will personally vouch for your sportsmanship. I've never. That's never been in question playing with you.
So, I've always been able to use that to, keep my competitiveness, within me. And it's always, that's what creates the excitement. I always stay focused. I never give up.
Except on putts.
Except on putts. But then they go in
Yeah, then they
sometimes,
go
so
in
then they
most
go
of the
in.
time when you give up. It's fine.
But, I just have this competitive drive. And, the one thing about golf and disc golf that's different from what I grew up playing, which is basketball. I had the Jones for basketball. I mean, I still do.
if you ever want to go play sometime, by the way, I'll go play.
I
with
will
you.
always go play basketball. It's different. It's an individual sport, and
Disc golf is.
disc golf
Yeah.
is. Yeah, and so you have teammates to rely on in basketball, but in disc golf, it's all about you. And I like the fact that it's a mental game, and I liked the fact that I get to progress in my mental abilities. And I won't lie, I came in my first tournament, I was arrogant, I was cocky. I knew I was better than all the players in Fairbanks, but my first tournament experience was in Anchorage, and it was a whole different group of people, and I got my ass kicked. And the one thing that I was really concerned about during that first tournament I played in was beating everybody. And I got a tip about 2-3 years later from this guy, a really good player, won a couple of tournaments, a state champion, He told me always just worry about playing your best, but since you are that competitive person, worry about beating the people on your card only.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
if you can beat the people on your card, you're going to be looking pretty good because first of all, you beat 3 people,
Yeah.
and secondly, you're probably going to be beating a handful of other people.
Yeah,
And
because you're definitely not going to be last on every other card.
and like he said, if you're in a tournament with 72 people, that's 68 less people that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
And in fact, 69 if you're not counting yourself.
Yeah.
So
I will say I beat 5 people today. You were not one of them. You were the person I didn't beat today. But that was our kind of play around.
I had a
before
vendetta
the
today against
second.
Joshua. He was the comeback kid against me last week.
Yeah, I heard that you had a little faltering at Mesquite. Is that actually what it's called, Mesquite?
Mesquite grows, but I like to
Mesquite
call
grows.
it broken glass.
Yeah, that is pretty. Papago is also pretty broken glass.
I
course.
don't think I've ever seen a course with so much broken glass.
There was a course called Oakwood in Minnesota that I would go and play, and there were holes. There were clearly holes that everybody hung out at, 20-person, 15-person benches that were, big L-shaped that everybody's sitting around smoking a bowl and drinking beer, whatever. So you'd get a lot of broken glass around those holes, and there was specifically a bench at every hole at that course. At every tee pad, there's something to sit on at most of the courses that I generally play in Minnesota. That course had a lot of broken glass, but definitely Mesquite and Papago are the worst 2 out here that I've played so far.
So putting aside your recreational rounds, what's your attraction to tournaments? For instance, tomorrow.
My attraction to tournaments is just improvement in my own game, staying out of my head. I made a comment today about making every putt like I already missed the first putt and it's just my second putt, so just go for it kind of thing. Because that's that going for it mentality, that not holding back and not being, I guess, timid about putts, I think is something that really helps me sink a lot of putts that I wouldn't necessarily otherwise normally make.
Yeah, you got to involve confidence in that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. But not just confidence, when it's the wind's blowing this way, just go for it. Don't overanalyze it. I think not necessarily lack of confidence, but thinking about it too much can generally impair your game on any shot that you're going to make. Your first instinct when you go up to a box is generally right, like as is your first instinct about most things. So go up there, grab your disc, and go throw it, and move on to the next shot. I think that getting better as a player is my attraction to tournaments. I'm really not too concerned about it. It looks like a really fun course to play. I'm sure I'll get
Looks
1 or 2
amazing.
discs in
It
the
looks
water.
lovely.
But, it will be a good time. I'll meet new people. That's a big thing of it for me too. Is excuse me, meeting new people. These are people who are passionate enough to play a tournament and passionate enough about the same thing that I'm passionate about. And I think that there's a lot of like-minded people at a disc golf course. So I think that's how you make friends and new people to play rounds with, and new people to teach you things about disc golf. So,
I love that part about disc golf, meet new people. That was actually one of the things I missed earlier in the podcast. The fact that I get to meet new people all the time. And in fact, that kind of brought me into the role of being a promoter and organizer of disc golf in Fairbanks. Just the simple fact that as I met people through the first 3 years of disc golf, I realized that there was a need for leagues and tournaments and whatnot. And
more structured play.
more structured play, but also to build a community, give the chance for people to meet other people, meet other players, and that for me, that I love that part of it. Like it just, I've probably made a couple dozen friends, and half of those are really good friends that even with me moving out of Alaska, I talk to those guys, once a week. They're going to be friends for life, and without disc golf, I would have never met those people.
I think that's a great piece of the sport, and people concerned about their local community, that's a really good way to get people together and do something that is low cost, fun, really open to all ages. I mean, I've played with guys, from in their teens to in their 60s and everywhere in between. I mean, it's not a limited, it's like bowling, there's not a limit on who can play it. As long as you have a functioning shoulder and arm and legs, and probably honestly without all of that, you can still play disc golf. It's a great way to get people who live near you to get outdoors and go enjoy something.
I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for disc golf. So
I would honestly say that's one of the biggest reasons I'm where I am now as well. I mean, it crushes me to sit inside all winter in Minnesota and not play.
Gosh.
And I'm sure you get as much, if not way more, of the same. How many months do you have of nice weather?
God, we're lucky if we get 4 full months.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's May, June, July, and August.
We are blessed. We have the extended days, so we can go out, on a Friday night and try
At
and do
midnight.
an all-nighter of disc golf. I
Really?
mean, we'll play all night long.
Does that keep going or wrap it up?
Now let's wrap it up so we get some food.
All right, we're going to go eat.
All right, break time podcast, folks.
Go eat. We'll be back shortly.
Early, usually you got to commute there. You got to have time to warm up, and those are definitely essential things to having a productive day. But there's not a whole lot in my routine other than like today. I make sure that I get out, play a couple rounds the day before. Just get that muscle memory going. Pretty much those two things: get the muscle memory and get some good sleep.
I think eating a good breakfast, too. I think making sure that you eat enough where you go there not on an empty stomach, and then...
But not too much where you have to
What about mental, though? 'Cause
take
you-
a deuce
you
break in the
described-
middle of a round.
Correct.
You described physical. Like mental. Like, what do you produce? Like, I mean, do you ever get nervous?
I used to. We were kind of talking about the mental aspect of it before.
Oh, when I was stuffing my face.
But we didn't really, we kind of got off of that topic a little bit. We got into something else. Anymore, the biggest things for me is, my first couple tournaments, I went in with kind of an arrogant attitude. It didn't affect my sportsmanship or anything, but, I was sure I was going to beat everybody in my field.
Did you?
And no, I didn't. And, that was definitely a letdown for me, mentally.
Do you remember who beat you? Like, what
Shoot,
type of
the
player
very
it was?
the very first tournament I played in was the state championships, and I came in dead last. Dead last. It was, for me, it was definitely a humbling experience. I just traveled 365 miles down to Anchorage, Alaska. Played at Alaska's premier course, Kincaid, which I had played maybe twice before that. So, there was that part of it, that not having the experience of playing this course. Also, there's another aspect of a difference between Anchorage and Fairbanks. Fairbanks doesn't really get any wind, and Anchorage gets a lot of wind, and I did not know how to throw in the wind. And so, anytime I go down to Anchorage, one of the things I do is, I definitely take the opportunity to go play on every windy day we have the chance to go play. There's a lot of fair weather players in Fairbanks, and they won't go out when it rains or and when it's windy, and I will, because I understand that in a tournament you're going to play regardless of the conditions.
Yeah. I find I haven't played a lot of rain rounds. I will play them. I will play when it's drizzling. I will play when it's a light rain. When it gets, we get, I don't know about Alaska, but we get some pretty heavy rains in Minnesota, and you're soaked to the bone at that point. Everything's wet. Your bag's wet. Like, you better have a Ziploc bag for your phone and your wallet in your golf bag, because everything's gonna be soaked. You have no grip on your disc. You cannot get a disc dry enough with anything you have to have a dry disc to play with. So those conditions I typically won't play in, and especially because we generally have a fair amount of lightning associated with those really heavy rains. But I mean, I'll play in anything. I don't care how windy it is. I don't care up to a point how rainy or cold it is. But
How do you feel walking in tomorrow's tournament, never playing the course?
that question
I was
could
just
explode
I was
us,
just
too.
contemplating that. There's actually a difference between, I guess, I don't do a whole lot of mental preparation, but I do some. In regards to tomorrow, I've never played the course. So in past tournaments, I've had the chance to play the courses, especially, our hometown tournaments. So the one thing I will do is, I do like to go through the shots in my head. What disc am I going to use when I walk up to hole one? If it's a little bit windy, what am I going to maybe upgrade to? What am I going to do if there's headwinds? What am I going to do if there's a tailwind? So I do some shot preparation. That definitely helps. It definitely helps, and I definitely check my bag, make sure I have the right discs, maybe some backup discs. Always important to have your backup discs. I learned that lesson my second year of tournaments. I had my go-to disc, but I didn't have backup one. And let me tell you, the first day I lost it, and I was kind of stuck. I had some other discs I liked, but when you lose your go-to disc, and you don't have a backup.
Yeah, that's one thing I've really worked on since I've been down in Arizona here is being versatile as far as what discs I have in my bag. I have probably 5 discs that I throw for distance, and I'm within 20 feet in all of them. I throw them all slightly different. They're all great for different conditions, but really making sure that I can close my eyes and reach in my bag and grab any driver out of there and get fairly close to the same distance as my best disc, because I know playing out here I'm gonna lose discs. I know playing anywhere I'm gonna lose discs.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, being able to go out, like for me, what's helping me is just being able to sit around and talk about it, going out and playing with guys that I played with the day before,
And who love you so much.
and just I think going into a tournament loose,
Yeah. Oh, I think that's
mentally
huge.
loose, physically loose. I think then you'll be able to accomplish anything you want to put your mind to.
How much does your wife charge for massages? By the way?
I told you.
It was like 120.
The massages were free.
150.
The happy endings were $120.
That's right.
Okay.
happy endings.
But the happy endings were mandatory.
I don't want to have.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't need.
I'm just kidding. Like,
You know what though? You know
you're
what?
cute enough. If you probably what? Oh, she's like, what's the matter? You'll probably get your first one free.
She'll look at my back and she'll be like, "Your hips aren't in the right
'Cause
place.
literally-
Your back's all fucked up."
Literally, I told her put her elbow into my back, and I don't feel it anymore. I mean, it's gonna take took a couple hours for it to go away, but it's gone. All day I've been fighting it, and she put.
So
my,
if I asked her, she would seriously.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Like,
I
would
mean,
pay her,
tournament.
but
Yeah,
no
no.
problem.
I mean, for a tournament stuff like that, you're friend and everything. Yeah, no, she's not gonna tell you no. I mean, you might only get a 15-minute, and you're gonna cry, because she's gonna pack it all in 15 minutes.
Yeah, just be a machine. She will fuck you up.
I am
she
gonna
will
cry
tear it
like a
up.
baby. I'm gonna feel so good tomorrow, but I'm just gonna weep. I'm just gonna be like, and she's gonna be like, "Oh my god."
It's
this guy
better
is
to hurt
just a
now though than
wuss."
tomorrow.
No, I think being loose mentally is a big piece of it, though. Not trying to do too much, staying within your game, and being loose. I think that we all do this for fun. We all do this because it brings joy and happiness and pleasure into our lives. And remembering that it's a game and that we do it because we love it. And a bad day at disc golf is better than a good day at work.
Yep, I agree.
Amen. Yeah, one of the other things I like to do to prepare the night before is, just make sure I have my stuff ready for the next morning. When I wake up, I want to make sure that I have time to take a shower, get my clothes on, get some breakfast. Actually, normally when I go down to Anchorage, one of the morning routines is the guys, they don't fix their own breakfast. We go to the same restaurant every time we go down there. But just making sure that by staying loose, you can continue that into the morning.
Yeah.
You're not worrying about what you're gonna wear.
Well,
When
I like
you-
the idea
where
we
my
get up
discs
really
at.
super early.
I'm up for 5.
5 o'clock. We get up at 5 o'clock. No food, no nothing. Just grab our bags. We go down to the course down the street, and we just throw 9 holes.
I always
small
keep
9.
snacks in my bag. I got
It's
all
but we come home and we'll like Jessica will have breakfast ready to go.
Dude, I get like.
Then get a granola bar. We'll have
That's what I'm
granola
saying.
bars. Let's
Like, I'll
not.
have a- I'll have a bite.
I'm not being ridiculous.
I
I'm just
get,
saying
like,
let's
I
not
get-
sit down and eat a big breakfast before we go out.
I get like shaky and nauseous
Yeah.
when I don't
Yeah, me
eat in the
too.
morning. So I mean, I like to have
But I think
a
at 5 o'clock we should get up, hit the 9 holes. Just a little. It's just an easy mid-range putter course.
I'll only bring my mid-range and my putters.
Yeah, and I mean that's the best way to warm up. And we'll just play 9 holes, warm up, come back, eat
What's
breakfast.
the longest hole in that course?
320.
Oh yeah, I can.
But it's
I
Heiser
can almost make it 320
Heiser
with the
protected.
buzz. Heiser protected?
Yeah.
Don't care. I'll Heiser it in there.
I think I maxed out like 3 with my mid-range.
It depends on the day. I mean, if I just need to get just a tiny bit of Heiser on my buzz to keep it from turning over, and then I can just throw everything at it. I can just womp on it basically.
Well, I think this was fun. I think we probably almost come to an hour. And
Ish.
I'm kind of ready to open up and just kind of have fun now. Not that I haven't had, but we'll get Austin in here.
Do you have a mic over there, Austin?
This guy's a Walking Dead fan. He still hasn't seen season.
Oh my goodness!
hasn't
Did
seen
you
what,
watch
season
the
2 you
mid-season
just said?
premiere? Oh, you
I'm
haven't
on
watched
season 2.
I have only
boy.
watched.
I was
season
told him
one.
like this would be a perfect opportunity for us to sit around round table and discuss the the premiere, this season premiere, this last Sunday,
Mid-season.
mid-season premiere. He's like, I'm still on season 2.
So am I. I've only watched season 1.
Oh my god.
Let me tell you, it just builds up and it builds up, and the beginning of season. I think this is season 4.
I tell you what, we'll discuss
Holy crap.
zombies. We can all get on that, can't we, Austin?
Yeah, we can all get.
We
on
can
board.
discuss whatever you guys want.
Zombies,
Okay,
zombie
so what
games,
do you
zombie
think the
movies.
feasibility is? I've talked to I have a friend who's a doctorate student for organic chemistry, and he does a lot of.
But
like,
we're supposed to end this podcast so we can bring him into the next podcast.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
we're already.
Is that what we're doing? Are we officially ended?
No, we're gonna stop, and then I'm gonna start the recording.
Do we have to be
Exactly.
all cut? Do I need
You have,
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
understand,
whatever
like,
you want.
there's
We need to let our listeners.
there's production
go
going
now.
on that he needs to like set up for.
Yeah, so you guys say your goodbyes, whatever, and then we'll cut and then start a new session.
All right. Well, this has been Joshua Watts,
The Moose.
the Moose.
Aaron.
Born to be-
Born to be Wildman Hallberg.
Thank you.
Can I get a little music? What was the tune?
Yeah.
for- Some saxophone, please.
Get a little end credit music.
I think this is officially how we end every podcast. With
Oh, if
I'll
he's
do it.
here, if he's
Yeah.
here,
if Aaron's
I
here.
think next week we need to discuss Wildman seriously,
we can.
and we want to get people's opinions on Wildman.
Yeah. Well, let's get all of 2 people that listen to us.
Hey, 2 people's opinions is better than none.
Hey, maybe it'll be 4 next week. We double it
Never
every week.
knew.
Yeah.
Never knew.
All right, I think I'm good.
All right. See you guys later. Thank you. Bye.